If the point of the early debates is for a candidate to differentiate his or her campaign from the rest of the pack, former Alaska Senator Mike Gravel is the dark horse candidate stealing the spotlight from the Democratic poll leaders. Senator Gravel joins us live now from Charleston, South Carolina. Senator, nice to see you again.
Thank you, Amy, for having me.
Well, let's begin with a question from last night's debate. Would you be willing to meet without precondition during the first year of a Gravel presidency with those leaders from nations seen by this current administration as adversarial? And we're talking about Iran, Syria, Venezuela, Cuba, and North Korea.
Not only would I meet with them, I would try to establish normal relationship with them and cut out all the sanctions. I mean, and tell me, we Americans are so arrogant in thinking that we can go around the world sanctioning everybody. Not only would I talk to them, I would talk to Hamas and Hezbollah. We're talking about trying to bring about peace, and you don't bring about peace by sequestering yourself from the people who are your enemies or supposed enemies. You know, the Christian attitude is turn the cheek. Well, we don't even turn the cheek. And if you don't even turn the cheek, you can't even discuss it.
What about Hillary Clinton's point about being used as propaganda if you were to agree to meet with these leaders?
Hillary Clinton wouldn't understand propaganda if her life depended upon it, because she is all propaganda. That's her campaign. And so what's wrong with propaganda? Here we have the foreign minister of Russia can't even publish an article uncensored in the American media at the Foreign Affairs Journal. This is appalling, that what's happening in this country with respect to censorship. Now, Hillary's got other problems, and if we want, we can discuss those. But she's, as I view, the most dangerous person on the Democratic side to become the president. What we're going to get is Clintonism and DLC, which is controlled by the Democratic Party, by the bankers on Wall Street, the hedge fund people, and we'll have a continuation of what happened in the last administration. They'll prosper, and the average American won't get anything from the prosperity.
Senator Gravel, on the Huffington Post, you criticized Harry Reid for the all-night session in Congress, trying to make a point about the Iraq War, when we can pull the troops out. You said he hasn't gone far enough. What would you do as president to pull American troops out of Iraq?
Well, first off, I would hope that the leadership in the Congress were there, and it's not, to end the war before I become president. But I become president, we'll pull out the troops in 120 days. We will bring the Iranians in to help us stabilize, and the Saudi Arabians and the Syrians to help us stabilize the civil war. Stop and think. Americans forget that it was the Iranians who helped us unseat the Taliban, and then we called them evil after they helped us in Afghanistan. I mean, what is going on? The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. The only way we're going to stabilize this system is for the Iranians, who have a stake in stability. The Saudis have a stake in stability. Everybody has a stake in the stability of this fragile area of the war, except us, because we destabilize it by a useless, unneeded invasion.
Senator Gravel, as promised, we have viewers who have called in who have questions for you directly, and we're going to begin with Matt from Waukesha, Wisconsin. He has a question for you about Social Security. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, Senator, my bad. I was wondering, what will you do to change Social Security? I'm a young person, and on the back of every one of my statements, it says I'm not guaranteed to receive Social Security. I'm paying into a system that's going to go bankrupt. What will you do to save the system and make it so it'll be there for me?
Well, Matt, the first thing is going to do for you to get me elected president. The second thing you got to do is to vote for the national initiative so that you are empowered as lawmakers. When you heard Hillary Clinton say that the Clintons, when they were in office, balanced the budget, hell, they did. What they did is they raided the Social Security surplus, and the Congress has been taking it. That's the reason why you're not going to be able to get your Social Security the way I am getting it right now. They've been raiding the surplus, and they make off like they're not doing it. That's the tragedy. We not only need to stop the raid, we need to begin to identify you as to how much money you're putting into Social Security fund with your name on a sum of money. And then what we turn around and do is invest that money properly. We could be getting 6 to 8% return on that investment. Right now, all we're getting is on the debt, these phony bonds that are put into the lockbox. You're getting 2%. That's the reason why you're not going to get Social Security. The reform of Social Security is just to stop what the Congress has been doing for the last generation.
Right. And Senator Gravel, I want to get in Mario from McAllen, Texas. He wants to ask you about a statement I think he said you made concerning the troops. Mario, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Mr. Gravel, Senator, you have said that our troops are dying in vain and have died in vain. Why do you say that? I'm against the war, but to go to that extreme in saying that, and as a presidential candidate, don't you think you're hurting a lot of families?
No, I'm not hurting a lot of families. Americans are a thoughtful people, and it doesn't make we shouldn't be lying to them. Stop and think of what happened in Vietnam. We lost 58,000 American dead. 3 million Southeast Asians died. And you can now go to Hanoi and get an ice cream cone at Baskin & Robbins. You can go to Vietnam and buy anything you want, and they're still a communist country. So you have to ask yourself, now why did all these people die if they're still a communist country and we're trading with them? What was that all about? It's the same thing in Iraq. George Bush wanted to control the oil. The Democrats who are in the Senate still want to control that oil. They don't want to get out. Well, it's their oil. What business do we have of robbing their resources? And 80% of the people in Iraq want us out. So if we now, and we will get out, make no mistake about it, when we leave, what do? We look back and say, why did George Bush take us to war? Why did all these people die? Because he was lying to the American people. That's dying in vain. Now, unfortunately, if you have difficulty handling that degree of truth, then I'm not the politician you ever want to support. Because one thing I think you need to know is the truth. The American people can handle the truth if they're told the truth, and politicians do not tell the people the truth. They lie through their teeth.
Senator Mike Gravel, we appreciate that those very honest answers. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
And as Senator Gravel continues his quest for the Democratic nomination, Governor Tommy Thompson